Here we see the biogas system with the gas bell removed so that we can do some fixing. And what's interesting as we go forward is that the horse manure that we used, all of the undigestible solids, the hay that the horse had eaten, has floated to the surface as a kind of cake. And we see the active production of methane bubbles. We also see many of these small worms that could be fly larvae. It's hard to tell, that exist in this mixture. Some of them here, and or they're grubs of some kind of larvae, and there's quite a few of them actually. There's a big one there, and so it's rather interesting that that is what the result is. Hard to know if we should remove these or not, but I think we will. It could act as a surface area for the production of gas, but on the other hand, it could be preventing a lot of the gas from rising and filling. So as we see, there's a lot of production here. We've got the bubbles. So maybe the best thing is to remove this cake from the system. First, we have to clear off more of the cellulose material that has risen from the bottom and is floating on the top. What's interesting is I'd cleared off the cellulose the other day, and it was just clear water on top. It looks like the bacteria have either deliberately or just through the lifting action of the methane created another layer of cellulosic material on the top. So I'll skim that off using a shovel. And as you can see, it goes a bit deep. It's tempting to think that the bacteria themselves lifted this layer up to protect themselves from oxygen, but that would be absurd unless you believe in bacterial consciousness. So when I touch the thermocouple, you can see that the copper coil is indeed very hot, and all of that heat is transferring to the biogas whenever the sun is shining. Now we got 50 degrees Celsius, 51 degrees. It's a very hot copper coil. So we've got this very, very hot copper coil whenever the sun is shining, and that copper coil is inside the biogas digester underneath here, and the pump is pumping that hot water from, with this 12-volt pump connected to a battery, from this home-built solar hot water collector made of an old radiator in a box. This is the air tube to let bubbles out. That way you can make sure that there's no bubbles in the system there. And so that is how we keep the biogas tank warm on days when it's cold but sunny here in Germany, and hope that the insulation will take care of keeping that heat so that we don't get the bacteria to freeze in the winter. And you can see that the solar panel itself is producing water that at the output is 60 degrees. So we have plenty of hot water. The battery for the pump is supplied by this broken 75-watt photovoltaic Siemens panel. It got damaged, but it still produces enough electricity. And there's the charge controller there. And then it goes to the battery here and charges that battery and then runs the 12-volt pump. And then there's a thermostat, and the thermostat is touching the radiator so that when it heats up to 37 degrees or more, then it turns on the pump and then pumps the hot water through this hose down here into the copper coil, back up, and into the solar collector. So that's how it works. And once we put this very hot copper coil into the tank, then we have a good heater. It's a very simple system. So inside the tank we've put mosquito netting. We've got a styrofoam float and a weight on the other end, and we've got 3 of these in here. And that creates surface area for the bacteria to breed on to produce gas. And now we're going to go ahead and take the copper coil, which is really hot, and drop it in there. And we submerge this. We also need to get the pipe out. Once the system is reassembled, then you have the hot water coming in here, and you have the return water coming out here and go into the solar panel.